for the speed, reach for the whistle, go where the rail may run. Reach for the words, reach for the story, follow the rainbow sun. To a shining time station, where dreams can come true, waiting there for you.
It was a typical day on the island of Sodor, and Thomas and Bertie were having a typical discussion about a not-so-typical event. "It's not your fault, Bertie," said Thomas. "I just beat you every year." "Well, that's going to change this year," said Bertie. "Really?" said Thomas. "You've never beaten me, even in the great race." "I don't mean to interrupt," said a new engine named Logan, "but I heard something about a race. What's going on?" "Oh, I forgot, you're new here," said Thomas. "Well, anyway, long ago, about 30 years ago, probably longer, Bertie and I had this huge race, and I won. Sir Tom Matt said we couldn't race again. So we begged and begged and begged, and finally he let us race, but only after hours. But we got so addicted to it that we were forgetting our jobs. And so now Sir Tom has an annual dedicated race day where all engines can participate, and we always kick off with the great race between Bertie and I. "But I'm going to win this year," said Bertie. "Well, that sounds interesting," said Logan. "I wish I could participate." "Oh, you can," said Thomas. "You just have to race and run the event." "Wow, that sounds like fun," said Logan. "I'd like to talk more, but I've got to take this coal to the coal company." Later that evening, some of the engines were still at the station. "Ah, that's the last train," said Spencer. "Victor, Duck, and Steven, what are you doing here? It's way past your timetables." Slow day at the steamworks," said Victor. "I decided to come out and just go for a run." Duck and Steven were in the other two berths. "Oh, I was helping Steven with this train," said Duck. "We just kind of decided to spend the night, since it's getting late and all." "Why don't you just go back to Knapford Sheds?" said Spencer. "They've pulled the gates down," said Steven. "The lines are closed down for the night, other than the mail train, of course." "Well, I guess I might stay for the night as well," said Spencer. "I should too," said Victor. "Rumor is there's a storm coming. It's a good thing we have a roof on this station." "Well," said Spencer, "I guess while we're all here, is anybody else racing at the grand race day?" "I assume," said Duck, "that you'll be doing your usual run against Gordon." "That's right," said Spencer. "Except, I believe the Flying Scotsman and the Mallard will be running this year." "What is race day? You don't get out much, do you?" said Spencer. "Race day? We've been having race day for a long time now. Race day is just a whole day dedicated to racing against each other. Thomas and Bertie always race. I always race against Gordon, and this year the Flying Scotsman and the Mallard. And that my race is called the Speed Race." "The Speed Race?" asked Victor. "Yes," said Spencer. "The fastest engines on Sodor race in that." "Is anybody allowed to compete?" asked Victor. "Of course," said Spencer. "But nobody really wants to. It's only for the 5-star adequate engines." "I prefer to race in my own league," said Duck. "Well, that sounds like fun," said Victor. "Maybe I'll run against you." "You run against me?" said Spencer. "You can't go any fast." "I bet I could," said Victor. "Humph!" said Spencer. "You couldn't go fast if you had ultra wheels. You're so slow." "You know what?" said Duck. "I'm going to help you, Victor. Spencer, you better watch out." "Yeah," said Victor. "I'm going to race against you, all of you, and I'm going to beat you." "In your dreams, steamwork," said Spencer. "You mustn't forget," said Duck, "that there are no regulations, shall we say. You can take any course you want. The only rule is you have to go forward, and you have to end up back at Knapford Station. You can take any branch line you want." "Branch lines are vulgar," said Spencer. "It's much quicker just to go down the main line." "I've been on this railway a long time," said Duck, And trust me, it's faster to take a couple branches. I will be taking the main line, said Spencer. I guess I'll have to take the main line too, said Victor. I don't know this line very well. I'm always at the steamworks. Who's going to be the victor? Asked Stephen. Very clever, said Victor, but Spencer didn't enjoy the joke. You watch me, little Victor, said Spencer. I will defeat you all. Soon the engines heard thunder crash from above, and all the gates shut. What's this? Asked Spencer. It's a new system, said Duck. Once the line closes, they lower these gates so that engines don't run in through the station late at night. I believe the mail train bypasses Knapford anyway. I don't really agree with the system. I think it's kind of pointless. If an engine needs to go through the station at night, just let them. They can't rob or anything. I agree, said Spencer. Next morning, Duck and Victor were discussing the different branch lines on the railway when Spencer puffed up. You have no chance, he said. You're underestimating him, said Duck. What is there to underestimate? Asked the streamliner. He's slow. He can't win. He might not be the fastest engine, said Duck. But he has a strategy enough to defeat you. Spencer puffed off importantly. Duck and Victor never gave up, and they kept moving forward. And forward. At last, the big day finally came. Is it normal to be a little bit nervous? Asked Victor. Of course, said Duck. You just have to keep your emotions in control and go out and do your best. Meanwhile, the excitement was passing around through all the engines. There were no trains that day. The whole day was just dedicated to racing. I haven't been here a week, and we're already having this huge race thing, said Belugan. That's so for you, said Hank. Are you racing in anything? Asked Stafford. I'm racing against Hero, said Stephen. I must go now, said Duck. But just remember what I told you. Just do the best you can, and you'll be all right. It didn't take long, though. Victor tried to be brave, but he was nervous inside. He wanted to look for Spencer and his other competitors. Good luck, said Spencer. You're going to need it. I would ask you to do the same for me, but I don't need luck. I have something called speed and skill. Victor wanted to reply, but he was rudely interrupted by Sir Topham Hatt. Ladies, gentlemen, and engines, he said. In this day in history, one of the greatest races ever in Sodor history took place. And after much begging from the participants of the race, we have decided to create a day to commemorate that event, the Sodor Race Day. And welcome to our 28th annual Sodor Race Day. I am quite honored to host and perform this event. The schedule will run as usual. We will kick off with the great race between Thomas and Bertie. Thomas the Tank Engine, undefeated in the great race. He is 29-0 and has plans to do so once more. But the non-quitting, fighting, challenging Bertie plans to end and put that first blemish on his record to make him 29-1. Thank you all for being here, and good luck in your races. May the best engine win. The engine started making way for the races to begin. Finally, a way was made for Thomas, and the road was cleared for Bertie. On your marks, said Sir Topham Hatt. Get set. The signal dropped, and they were off. Victor was still extremely nervous, and as the races continued on, his drew nearer and nearer. Finally, it was time for the race. Now the rules are simple, said Straw Hat. You must go in the same direction the whole time. The only goal is the first one to get back to Knapford Station via any direction. Are you ready? Set, said Sir Topham Hatt. Go! And the engines went off. The engines went so fast that Sir Topham Hatt had fallen down face first. Ouch, he said. Not long after starting, Gordon crashed. Help! Cried Gordon. Spencer laughed. It had been his doing that Gordon had crashed. Silly engine, said Spencer. Spencer was going well, but he didn't hear the chuffing sound of Victor. Victor had gone another way. He continued his journey across the bridge. Spencer roared through the docks. The backside of a forward Victor. Spencer came around a corner only to find... Spencer came around the bend as fast as he could. It was going to be close. But only by a footplate. Victor was the winner. The crowd cheered as Flying Scotsman and Mallard presented Victor with his prize. The golden engine, which had a strange appearance to Thomas. Thank you very much, said Victor. There have been upsets in the past, said Flying Scotsman, when it comes to professional events, but none like this, and I hereby am proud to present this award to the greatest underdog ever, and the greatest victor of all time. That's a funny one, said Victor. What is? Asked Flying Scotsman. Oh, nothing, said Victor. In the end, even Spencer was able to pull out a smile. All the engines gave 3 cheers for the victor.